From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big morning of Mornings Lalate with that world exclusive on your fourth stimulus check of update of 2021. Broke 2 days ago on Lalate News, reporting that staffers from congressional leaders on both the House and Senate side say the negotiations are near complete for the inclusion of a stimulus check in the $3.5 trillion recon bill. Then number two, there will be months of checks. And number three, the negotiations are near approaching $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 running 6 months. But for the first time in this morning's broadcast, new world exclusives, as indications suggest that the authors will be AOC Jayapal Pelosi and also Omar. It will debut on the House side, and that the exclusion will be for anyone 18 years or younger because you're covered in the other provision of that recon check, the MSC. I will go over that shortly. The incredible details of the first 645 pages are deliciousness. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, hazard pay. I'll be covering that in this recording. Then we'll be cutting to cluster number two. Checks for people, including paid sick leave and medical leave, $1,700 a week. Wow. Then cluster number three, the checks the president wants, has checks in there for seniors, medicine, and also free internet. We'll be cutting to the big $13 billion cash infusion that surprised everyone that's coming from the federal government to you across the land for rent, utilities. And for the first time ever, I go over the debt ceiling limit and whether it impacts you, your wallet, or anything from forced stimulus. It's in the final 15 minutes of this video. World exclusives. I got more of them coming up as well. It's a big morning because the toast is toasted. The butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and this is Lalate. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is beautiful here in Santa Monica. I'm live with you with more about the world exclusives you're only hearing on this channel because this is Lalate. It was broke 2 days ago on the Lalate news site, now nearly 2 decades in existence. Staffers from congressional offices tell viewers this channel that negotiations are near complete on the inclusion of a stimulus check provision in the $3.5 trillion recon. The checks will run monthly, and that the check provisions will look something like this: $1,000 the first month, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. But in this recording, I'm going to go over the new world exclusives you haven't heard until today. In fact, you haven't heard them till this recording. We'll be cutting to the first cluster of checks, and that is the 645 pages that have been released. Checks for hazard pay, checks for workers, checks for seniors up to $4,000 a year to care for elderly. Then checks cluster number two, checks for even paid sick leave. And then we got to cluster number three, the checks the president wants. Boy, it's a big recording. I got world exclusives about that third cluster with an additional $107 billion available for you. We got the big exciting news of an additional $13 billion landing for your cities and county states since last week for rent and utilities. What the nonprofits are doing, they're paying big money. And then I got coverage in the final 15 minutes of this video to explain whether the debt ceiling limit issue of next week impacts you if you receive Social Security benefits or SSI or SSDI checks. It doesn't. Or whether it impacts you if you're a federal employee. I have all the details of that coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. It's a big recording, trust me. And this is Lalate, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Thank you for making the last 2 weeks, including this one, our biggest weeks of this channel in nearly 3 months. I want you part of this incredible channel that's making history once again, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and also sign up for those LA alerts, totally free. Let's go into the new world exclusive you're going to hear for the first time right now in Mornings Lalate. It started 2 days ago when Lalate, the news website, broke the world exclusive that staffers from congressional offices of Senate and House Democrats confirm that negotiations are near complete for the inclusion of a stimulus check in the $3.5 trillion recon, number one. Number two, that the checks will run monthly. And number three, the terms that they're looking at are currently $2,000 a month, $1,000 there, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, running for 6 months. These are the new world exclusives you're hearing for the very first time right now. One, I'm hearing that the legislation will be part of the House bill, which I reported nearly 2 months ago would be written by the House Democrats, not the Senate Democrats. Number two, I'm hearing that the authors will be Jayalapal, AOC, Omar, and Pelosi. Number three, I'm also hearing that the checks will run for people 19 years or older, because if you're newborn to 18, you're getting the up to $3,600 check under the other part of the recon bill, which I'm going over in a second. And the more exciting details of this coming up in just a second, but let's get to how we got here. We got here nearly 8 weeks ago when I told viewers to start advocating, and WR, longtime viewer of this channel, advocated, picked up the phone and told Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, his staff, told him the importance of a stimulus check, advocated for it, WR, and Senator Chris Coons' office confirmed to WR he's doing it. Monthly stimulus check. That was 8 weeks ago. Then, 3 weeks ago, Brother Joshua, 2020 volunteer to the community page, really advocated well. Picked up the phone and called Bernie Sanders' office to say, I need it, my family needs it, my church needs it. And they said, Senator Bernie Sanders' office to Brother Joshua, he's doing it. Monthly stimulus check. $1,000 to $1,400 is what Sanders wants. 3 to 6 months. Then the floodgates open, because Sanders said he needs to hear your support, and it started with Donnie, and viewers followed suit thereafter. Donnie picking up the phone and advocating vigorously, I need a stimulus check, and I need to tell you why I need it. And those comments just continued to come on in. Here's Donnie picking up the phone and saying, I need it, my city needs it, my family needs it, and Sanders' office saying he's doing a stimulus check monthly. Hurricane Tina advocating, and Sanders' office saying he's doing it monthly. Carolyn Smith on Countdown LA, our 7 a.m. hit show, calling up Sanders' office saying, people are losing their homes. What are you doing? Of course we need this. People are losing their homes. They're losing everything they got. And Sanders' office saying they're doing it. Then Yaya picking up the phone and calling Ron Wyden's office and advocating for it, and for SS200, and his office saying they're doing it. Then it continued even stronger with a new level of advocacy shown by Will. Pick up the phone and called not one office, 3 offices, called Schumer, Sanders, and Warren. And the Warren comment was fascinating, because Elizabeth Warren's office told Will in a very impassioned advocacy conversation that Warren will be doing $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica's comment I found the most fascinating, though, because Bob Casey, Democrat, was the recipient of her phone call, and his staffers said, yes, Bob Casey's putting a stimulus check in there, MSC, that stands for monthly stimulus check, but that they're near negotiations complete, and this comment from Lorica was last week. By the end of last week, I told viewers to pick up the phone call Omar, Jayalapal, AOC, and Paul called AOC. Her staff told Paul, after he advocated, stimulus check, $1,000 per month after the first month of $2,000, running 12 months. And then Janice heard my comment, and she called Jayalapal's office. They said they're doing it. By that point, we had Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden all saying they're doing an MSC IRS check. Then AOC and Jayalapal. The advocacy went to another level yesterday, however, when Margaret picked up the phone and advocated, and had the staffer crying on the other side with her. Another viewer whose name I'm withholding really advocated big time and said, I need it because I'm a single mom. I have 2 teenage daughters. I just had 10 surgeries. I don't have enough money for bills, and I'm on SSDI. Then came Mark. Yeah, $51,000 Mark, longtime viewer of this channel. He got Pelosi's phone line office on the line on Monday, and her office told him that they're near finished negotiations, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. And then overnight, Paul tells me that the negotiations look much like the same, and that AOC, Jayalapal, and Omar, and Pelosi all want it. Wow. More about this later in this video. But let's get to the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill. Everything in the budget bill is checks for you that are not pandemic related, so you don't have to have eligibility per the pandemic. There are checks in the first 645 pages of what could be an upwards of 8,000 page bill for hazard pay, For seniors, $4,000. For children, for MSC, monthly, $51,000 over 18 years. For bikes, cars, trucks, home repairs, and also for college students. Let's go over all the details, starting with the very first one, hazard pay. Hazard pay will be lifetime under the force stimulus recon. This channel was the single biggest advocate for hazard pay anywhere on the globe, with nearly 500 videos recorded in 2020. In force stimulus, hazard pay will be lifetime on the books by taking an old tax provision called the Earned Income Tax Credit, expanding the eligibility so more people qualify, and increasing the amount, just like third stimulus did, but making it lifetime. So every year that you work as an essential worker and are in the zone of eligibility, you would get this incredible money. Check number 2, big surprise no one saw coming. From Representative Richard Neal, head of House Ways and Means, he put it in there. It's up to $4,000 a year if you care for the elderly. Huge if you're a care provider at home. On the other side, up to $4,000 a year if you care for a young child. How about college students? There's a check for you. There's the Pell's grant being made tax-free, checks to universities for grants for you, and then some grants directly to you. How about a check for your home? Oh, yes, there is. One of the first of several checks for the home. This one is if you're in a low-income community, the federal government will give you checks to repair the home. Then come more checks. $51,000 of them. Yes, if you're a parent in a low-income family home and you just gave birth to a child, well, for every year that that family remains a low-income family, you'll get upwards of $300 a month per year, up to 18 years per child. Yes, that's $51,000. And that's why they're not providing the same checks to the same children elsewhere under the stimulus check provision, because they're getting it here in that provision. Well, the incredible next check is for checks for vehicles, cars, and bicycles. You want a new bike for any purpose? The federal government pick up the price tag for up to 15% of the purchase price of a new electric bike. How about a vehicle? Yes, the federal government will provide you $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle from the U.S. auto manufacturers for personal use. If you want an electric truck or electric car for business use, the amount will be a little bit more. And there you go. That's the first 645 pages of a full recon bill. That's upwards of 8,000 pages potentially. How did they get there? I'll show you in a second. But the second cluster has more checks. I'll be cutting to that next. 12 checks, including up to $1,700 a week. The third cluster, checks for seniors, including workers. Boy, there's a lot of checks. But how did we get to these 645 pages? We got to them by negotiations between Democratic senators and House members. These Democratic House and Senate members negotiate behind closed doors. They're going on the phone and chatting, going to their offices, having a cup of coffee, walking down the hall. The negotiations are not on the House floor, they're not on the Senate floor, they're not on TV, they're not on C-SPAN, and they're not on TikTok. They're not dancing. No. Once they agree upon a provision, they say, go write it up. What do you think about that? 15% for a bike. I like it. Go write it up. The $4,000 to care for the elderly. I love it. Go write it up. And the first 645 pages they've written up are the first 645 pages of checks they have. Cluster number 2 is more checks. They went in there. They just haven't finished writing it up. Same thing for cluster number 3. But let's take a detour for a second to look at third stimulus. This is a huge surprise. Last week, out of nowhere, Department of Treasury announced that they have an additional $13 billion for rent utilities for every state, county, and city. This is huge. I don't care if you're a red state or a blue state. There will be money everywhere. Now, what's important to understand is if you're a member of this channel, you have now in the newsletter from me nightly the actual Treasury press release, because the money is going to land and it's going to get eaten up quickly. I'm going to have more about this later, but this was the incredible announcement a week ago. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with additional resources to provide for rental assistance. You got to pounce, Purple Hawks, hawk, hawk, because that money won't be there forever. More about that later. But let's get some more checks. Let's cut to cluster number 2. Cluster number 2 has 12 checks, and they're deliciousness because they're huge amounts. First one, expansion of paid family and medical leave. What is this? Family leave. You have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave. You have to stay home because your son broke his leg. How much does it pay? A fortune. Under third stimulus, they're going to do $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. So if you make $35,000 a year, split in half, then it'll be $800 a week. Split in half again. Let's say you make $15,000 a year annual salary, you'll get up to $400 a week. Wow. Check number 2, build up in childcare programs. Check number 3, household tax credits. Check number 4, weatherizing your home. Definitely needed to weatherize your home if there are purple hawks on the roof. Well, this is a huge one because it covers things like weatherizing, whether there's a hurricane-prone area or a fire-prone area. And guess what? Later in this video, I'm going to show you that nonprofits are paying this week. Oh, boy. Then the next check are for seniors. Dental checks, vision hearing checks, medical eligibility age dropping as well. This also appears in cluster number 3. The next 2 checks are education. There's a check for free pre-kindergarten across the board, and then tuition-free community college for people of any age. It's very helpful because there's a very popular community college class sweeping the nation. It's called What the World is Lalate Saying? I don't understand him. 101. It's for people who say, I just talk funny. I talk funny so you can take the foreign language class on Lalate. Pardon my French. And then there's checks for green energy. Wow. Well, so where is Congress now? Where is the House? Where's the Senate? They're in session. Yeah, that wonderful word, which means nothing for us. Because remember, the fact that they're in session means nothing for the negotiations. They're not negotiating on the House floor or the Senate floor. They're negotiating in their offices or on the telephone. And the negotiations are near complete. We're likely to see these last pages of the bill released by the end of the week. All right, I feel ready for some more clusters of checks. Are you? Yeah, cluster number 3. I have a world exclusive on this one, and it's $107 billion of extra money for you. Wow. This one's exciting. This is the cluster the president wants in there. And these checks are free stimulus for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy, checks for workers, and checks for Medicare expansion, like checks for elderly, checks for lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. What's the world exclusive on this one? You're not going to hear this anywhere else. Late Friday, a very buried news article said the Senate parliamentarian had ruled that one of the provision in cluster number 3 can't belong in there. Did not concern you. It was not a check that I ever said on air because it didn't concern you. It concerned the Department of Treasury. But I have the notes, and I went back and I compared my notes versus this announcement, and I found it's worth $107 billion. It's huge because now that $107 billion will be allocated to you, not to Treasury. Wow. There are 2 sets of checks in this third class the president particularly likes as advocating for because they're automatic. I like them as well. The first checks are cheaper prescription medication. This would show an immediate benefit to your wallet. For example, let's say you go to the pharmacy on Monday, take 2 $20 bills out to pay for a prescription. This becomes law later that week. When you renew the prescription, then you perhaps only take out 1 $20 bill, immediately saving more money in your wallet. The second automatic money is the free internet. The federal government's going to give fortunes to your cities and counties and states so they can offer free internet to you. All you have to do is say, hey, I'm here. I don't see you. We see each other. And then they give you the Wi-Fi password. It's the T-Mobile account. Yeah, T-Mobile from Sir Lloyd for the username and password. And then you're connected. Wow. In the second half of this video, so much coming up. I will be going over the debt ceiling limit for the first time on this channel and going over what it means for you if you're on benefits, Social Security, benefits checks that come monthly from the federal government, what it means for you if you're a federal employee, or if you go to federal offices, what that debt ceiling limit means for you. We'll be going back to the world exclusive of these MSERS checks, which are near finish. I'll go over what's going on with that push. Then I'll be cutting over to third stimulus, and then briefly just a little bit about fifth stimulus and a world exclusive about the voting process for fourth stimulus as well. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica as Mornings LA continues. We'll go over more about that world exclusive of the push to finalize the inclusion of a stimulus check monthly for everyone, including seniors and SSI and SSDI, in the $3.5 trillion recon. I'll have more details coming from Coons, Warren, Sanders, Casey, Wyden, AOC, and Jayalapal. Checks for everyone, including seniors, workers, and also SSI and SSDI. We'll be cutting to the big confusion that may be caused by the debt ceiling limit. I'll explain a very confusing situation, make it easy breezy for you as well. Then we'll be going back over the voting process for the recon, the fourth stimulus recon, and then a little bit about this stimulus. But first, we'll be cutting to the big surprise as an additional $13 billion is coming to your cities, counties, and states for rent. And then a big surprise about the nonprofits. Boy, it's a big morning with a lot of surprises. And this is Mornings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. Thank you for making the last 2 weeks our biggest weeks of this channel for 3 months. You feel the love, and there is no place like here. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers. I want you part of this family. Like the video. 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link's under the video. Also, make sure you sign up for those LA alerts. It's totally free, so you don't miss a new video when it goes live. The link is to that under the video as well. Well, the president surprised everyone with an additional $13 billion cash infusion going to your cities and counties and states for rent under a third stimulus. This is huge. This is for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance everywhere. Red states and blue states. I'm going to go over it right now. The money for rent has literally gone up double in a month for viewers of this channel. It was a month ago that viewers were getting $20,000 for rent because of this channel. Now they're getting upwards of $40,000. It was a month ago when we looked at viewers like Nisi, who got $20,000, and Elizabeth, Purple Hawks. Are you a Purple Hawk? Make sure you join a member today. Now we see late last week when Jen got nearly $40,000 for rent. Viewers are getting $36,000 or more routinely on this channel. How about utilities? They've gone up 300%. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 last week for utilities. When we talk about money for SNAP, it's gone up 400%. Mark's brother-in-law getting $21,000. Viewers getting huge sums of money on this channel, like Johnny, who got $88,000, and Lorraine, who got $105,000. Get that pen, paper, and cell phone ready. I'm going to show you how to get this big money right now. First, I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Then, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And finally, I'm going to show you the nonprofits. They're really paying well. Here we go. Here are the 6 places you reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And there you go. You can get rent, utility, mortgage assistance, and utility help. Let's go over the 6 places again. City hall, city house authority. County hall, county house authority. State hall, state house authority. Now, this is what's very important, is that this $13 billion is landing in every city, county, and state. If you're in a red state, if you're in a poor state, if you're in a rich state, if you're in a blue state, everyone will have money. But the money's not going to be there forever. The announcement made by Treasury was last week. If you're a member of this channel, on our daily newsletter that comes out nightly, I now include the Treasury press release. I want you to read it because I want you to pick up the phone and call back potentially to the place that said, I have no money, we're out of it, and say, have you gotten the money yet? If they say no, say, I want to be on the waiting list. I want to be first in line. If they have no waiting list, say, can I call you tomorrow? They 100% will get the money. But remember, it's going to run out very quickly. In 2020, longtime viewer of this channel, Kevin Lee, learned about Dallas having money for rent. He applied, and within 3 days it was gone. So you got to pounce Purple Hawks, hawk, and get that money when it's there. Next, utility companies. I want you to reach out to all utility companies. So if you have 5, reach out to all 5. Then the nonprofits. Wow, this has been a big success. Nonprofits are picking up the tab for rent, utility, mortgage assistance. They have totally different eligibility. You don't have to necessarily be behind on rent. They also do different things that the federal government doesn't do, like money for homeless people into shelters, money for clothing, sometimes appliances, sometimes weatherization of your home. I have 2 viewers overnight who got weatherization of their home paid by the nonprofits featured on this channel this week. And another viewer says, tell viewers that St. Vincent de Paul is really helping quickly on rent. And then another viewer who says United Way is helping him really quickly on rent. Let's go over those nonprofits first. They are United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. What's important to understand is that I covered the nonprofits in fall 2020 and early 2021, but I didn't know if they're still paid. But boy, are they ever. One viewer said within 24 hours of me bringing back them into this video, onto this channel in the last 7 days, United Way put him on the waiting list, put him on the list. They said no one's calling for rent because people were relying upon the federal government for rent. They don't know that the nonprofits have it still. And that viewer got the rent right away. Same thing with the viewer with the Community Act, with the St. Vincent de Paul. Another viewer with another charity got a refrigerator, a furnace, and got her broken window fixed. Here again are the 5 nonprofits. They're also featured in the newsletter for members. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, SNAP. SNAP pays a fortune. Get it from the Department of Agriculture. It raised, it's up, Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000. Now he's sitting on top of $26,000. Why? Because the Department of Agriculture is raising everyone's benefits for SNAP, which is money for food, an average of 25% automatically in October. Now listen carefully to this part because it is confusing. People will get a letter that says the prior lift-up that ran from earlier this year to September is ending. There's going to be another letter behind that that says the next lift-up is coming, the lifetime. So don't worry, there'll be a second letter. Then, how about those unemployment benefits? Yes, the one back from the state due to overpayment on unemployment benefits, they're landing. And then the check from the federal government for the taxes you paid on the 2020 unemployment benefits, yes, that's landing as well. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got in any of these sums of money, post in the live chat what monies you got it, because when you do, you inspire other people. Lastly, if you haven't become a Purple Hawk, why not? The link is under the video. Daily, every night, I deliver to viewers a newsletter to members of this channel, Hawks, Purple Power, and Calcino VIP, breaking down the money that's available for them under first, second, and third stimulus. It's important to understand that there's massive sums of money for you to get, not just a few dollars. Johnny, $80,000. Lorraine, $105,000. Mark, $51,000. Even Jen last week, $40,000. A lot of this money may not repeat itself under fourth stimulus, so I want you to get it now under third stimulus. And there you go, the incredible details. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now. 15 minutes of this video, starting with the exciting details of the big world exclusive. And let's go over it, starting right now. Congressional staffers of both Senate and House Democrats tell viewers of this channel that, one, that they're near negotiations complete on the inclusion of a reconciliation check, a check into the reconciliation budget bill. That check will be monthly, and that the deal provisions look like $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 running for 6 months. How did we get here, and why is advocacy important? Advocacy is important down to the very finish line until the president signs it into law. It was 8 weeks ago when I told viewers of this channel to pick up the phone and advocate. And WR, longtime viewer of this channel, picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's old confidant, advocating for a stimulus check, saying, I need it, my family needs it. And Senator Chris Coons' office said, yes, he's putting an MSC monthly stimulus check in there. Then, 3 weeks ago, I showed viewers this channel that there's 2 budget committees in Congress. There's the House Budget Committee, which I told viewers at the time would be writing the legislation. I was right. And that there's a Senate Budget Committee, and its chairman is Bernie Sanders. And that he's the guy who actually got the $3.5 trillion price tag. I said he's very important. That same week, Bernie Sanders came out with a game-changing quote in which he told broadcast media, unlike prior budget chairmen in D.C., I like to get out amongst the people when writing a recon budget bill. I said, if you listen carefully, that means he wants to hear from you. He wants to hear you advocating what he should put in that budget bill. I said, pick up the phone and advocate. And Margaret did, Lynn Glenn, and Brother Joshua did. 2020 volunteered to the community page, picked up the phone and advocated. What does advocacy look like? Advocacy looks like the following. Telling someone on the other side of the phone why you need it. I need a stimulus check because this is what's happened to my family. This is what's happened to my niece, my daughter, my sister-in-law. This is what's happened to my town, my community, my county, my church, my business. I need to tell you why I need it. We saw advocacy on a level which I've never seen before, and I am so proud of these 2 people. And it came in late yesterday. The first person's name is Margaret. She picked up the phone and advocated so vigorously that the person on the other side of the phone started crying with her. Another person whose name I'm withholding to protect her identity, she picked up the phone and advocated and said that she had lost her husband during the pandemic, that she had endured 10 surgeries, she's on SSDI, and she as a single mom is raising 2 teenage daughters on SSDI, and that it's not cutting it. She needs these checks. That is the true face of emotional advocacy, and they did it well. And so did Brother Joshua, advocating to Bernie Sanders' office why he, his family, and his community needed it, and his church. And Sanders' office said yes. Monthly stimulus check, $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months. That's what Bernie wants. But he needs to hear your support. And at that point, I said, pick up the phone. And the floodgates started with Donnie, who picked up the phone and advocated with Bernie Sanders' office vigorously, explaining why he needed it for himself and his family and his community. The comments from Donnie are overwhelming, saying that it's because of these things that I need it, and I really need it right away. Here's Donnie's comment right here. Donnie saying, I need it for my city. I need it to progress. I need it for my water. I need it for everything. I called Bernie Sanders and his staffer said yes, MSC. Hurricane Tina advocating directly to Sanders' office, and they saying yes, MSC. Carolyn really doing a beautiful job saying, come on, people are losing their homes. They're losing what they got. They need it. Well, they're losing everything. And Sanders' office saying, we agree, monthly stimulus check. And Yaya picking up the phone and calling Ronald Wyden's office saying, I need it, we need it, and we also need SS200, and them saying, yes, we're doing it. Then by the end of the week, by the middle of the week, Will took it to another level by calling not 1, but 3 offices, advocating vigorously. And his conversation with all 3 offices resulted in the same statement. Schumer saying he's doing monthly stimulus check. Sanders saying he's doing monthly stimulus check. And Warren saying she's doing monthly stimulus check. But it was Warren's comment that was perhaps the most fascinating. Warren's staffer told Will that that Elizabeth Warren will be doing $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. And there you go. That's what advocacy gets you. Lorica had perhaps the most fascinating comment. In calling Senator Bob Casey's office, he said his staffer not only said he's doing it, but that Senator Casey's office confirms they're actually in the negotiations right now for that MSC check. By the end of last week, I said, okay, we got our senators taken care of, but what about the House members? You need to call AOC, Omar, Jayalapal, and Pelosi. And even on Morning's Countdown this morning, Janice was in the live chat. She knew what I was about to say, and she said, LA, I've called Omar twice. I can't get through. I'm going to try again today. Yes, viewers have not been able to get through to Omar, need to keep on pushing with Omar. Absolutely. But by the end of last week, the breakthrough happened with AOC and Jayalapal. Here's Paul. He got it through to AOC's office, and the staffer said she's going to be doing $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, running for 12 months. The staffer confirmed to Paul that AOC will be adding that monthly stimulus check provision in the recon. And then Janice, who I just discussed a second ago, got through to Jayalapal's office late last week, and they're saying they're doing it as well. We had Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, AOC, and Jayalapal, both from House and Senate, confirming the inclusion of a stimulus check. But it was Mark's comment on Monday that took it to another level. When Pelosi's office, Speaker Pelosi's office, confirmed to Mark, that's $51,000 Mark, that Pelosi is inserting a provision of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, that would run 6 to 12 months, and that they're near done negotiating. There you go, and that is what became the world exclusive on this on LA news site, which has been around for 2 decades, 2 days ago. Near completion, staffers report inclusion of a stimulus check that runs monthly, and staffers report the following provisions. What is new as a world exclusive this morning? I'm hearing that the legislation will be written by House members and introduced on the House side, which I've been reporting for now 3 months as a world exclusive, will be introduced on the House side and called for a vote on the House side first before the senators. Paul reports that he has heard that the Pelosi team says the authors will be AOC, Jayalapal, and Omar with Pelosi, and that's set to debut very shortly. There you go. Wow. Now, it's important to understand that advocacy is needed down to the last second, because advocacy is what gets you things. You have to advocate until the president literally puts the pen to paper. No time to do anything but advocacy. And advocacy is talking about why you're doing it. Because advocacy is what's resonated on the listener's phone call on the other side. They don't see your face. They don't know your town. They may not even hear of your town or ever visit it. But they can certainly resonate to emotions. All right, let's turn to the debt ceiling limit, which is a very complicated issue, and it's debuting for the first time on Mornings Lalate starting right now. I'm going to go over what the debt ceiling limit is, whether it affects you or not, and how it impacts stimulus or doesn't impact stimulus. All right, first, the debt ceiling limit. As a preface, the debt ceiling limit is one of the most complicated elements of the U.S. government that even very sophisticated, smart economists get it wrong, get confused by it. And it's fair game, not fair game, it's clear grounds for naysayers and trolls to trip you up by talking about it because it is so confusing. So let me explain what the debt ceiling limit is. Ironically, this is probably the third debt ceiling coverage of this channel in over a year because we've confronted this before. Every few months, the government has to pass a debt ceiling limit agreement. If they don't pass the debt ceiling limit agreement, the government is seen as what is called in default. But what does the debt ceiling limit do? It basically allocates funds for existing laws. How do they confront doing the debt ceiling limit? The Democrats have a proposal, the Republicans have a proposal, and then the other option is default. Last night, the Democrats introduced the House proposal on the House side, written by Pelosi and team. It's now over in the Senate. Over on the Senate, the Republicans introduced their proposal last night as well. There are 3 possibilities of what could happen. Number 1, the Democrats could agree to the Republicans' proposal. Number 2, the Republicans could agree to the Democrats' proposal. Or 3, neither side agrees and the government defaults. I think it's likely that either we do default or the Democrats agree to the Republicans' proposal. Now, let me explain what this means for you. If you're on benefits, I have done this video twice before over the last year, so I know the questions before I even record it. And ironically, I got one of the questions on Morning's Countdown. The number 1 question will be, will my Social Security check still come if the government defaults next week? Yes. Will my SSI, SSDI, will my federal benefits checks for railroad or SSI or SSDI, will it come if the government defaults next week? Yes, absolutely. So does this impact me at all? Let me explain how this works. The default in the government happens routinely for a day or 2 days, happens routinely for a week, doesn't happen routinely for a month, rarely happens routinely if it defaults and they don't get it solved after 3 months. What happens is if they don't get it done on the deadline, makes no impact on you. When does it possibly make an impact on you at all? The first set of people that may see an impact would be about within 2 weeks, approximately, that if you work for a federal office and make probably more money than you're qualified for even a stimulus check, you probably make $80,000, $90,000, you work for a federal office, then you're not an essential worker, you may not be called into work if this continues 2 weeks past the default date. If it continues past 2 weeks, let's say 4 weeks, if you're a federal judge, which you're probably not watching either, then your chambers may be closed if this goes on for a few weeks. Again, this is not the viewers of this channel. Does this impact my son or daughter in the military getting paid? No, absolutely not. Does not. When does it impact any of us? It would impact you if you're on Social Security, on benefits, or a military armed services or a veteran, if this goes on for a month to 2 months. It is highly unlikely that is going to happen, but we don't know yet. If this continues for a month to 2 months, then it could possibly impact delivery of money, but it's not going to impact it this week. So there you go. That's a clarification. Now, let's go over to stimulus. This one makes me laugh. I gotta laugh. The debt ceiling limit has nothing to do with things that are not law. So trolls, naysayers, false narrative people will tell you, hey, they didn't pass the debt ceiling limit, so there's no money to do your $3.5 trillion recon. Untrue. That's not how it works. The debt ceiling limit is to pay for things that are currently law, that currently are on the books, like Trump stuff. So all the Trump stuff in 2020, if the federal government does go into default, that stuff starts not getting paid. Yeah. And the Biden stuff from early 2021, that stuff doesn't get paid. It's not the $3.5 trillion bill. That's why we're doing a bill, so that the bill gets paid. The bill has its own funding source. That's why it's a bill. It's not law yet. Yeah, it's a very inventive fake story, but it's so stupid. It's ridiculous that the debt ceiling limit has something to do with something that's not even law. No, it's to pay for things that are currently laws, and those things that are currently laws include Trump laws and early 2021 Biden laws of a few months. Those are the things that won't get paid if the Republicans and the Democrats don't agree upon this debt ceiling limit. Finally, scheduling, which is obviously a great question. Does this debt ceiling limit talk take away from the scheduling of our stuff? My answer, no, because Nancy did it very quickly last night. She got the House bill for the debt ceiling limit done. So the House members who are writing the 800 trillion page recon, $3.5 trillion recon bill, they're done. They got the debt ceiling limit done. It's off to the Senate. They have nothing to do. Their desk is clear, so they can do our recon now, or continue doing our recon now. It's off to the Senate, and the Senate aren't writing up anything for the debt ceiling limit. The Senate is just, doing what the Senate always does. So yes, number one, your benefits checks will not be delayed because of default next week. Number two, the work on the recon will not be delayed because of the recon, because of the debt ceiling limit. Number three, the debt ceiling limit has nothing to do with the funding of the recon. The funding of the recon is not part of the debt ceiling limit. The debt ceiling limit is for debts from laws that are laws. The $3.5 trillion is not a law yet, so it doesn't work that way. Meantime, let's go over fifth stimulus. When does fifth stimulus heat up? Fifth stimulus is already heating up. They're starting to draft it potentially in the next few days, and then goes for a vote by November, December. That raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Removes the asset cap, removes the debt, removes the marriage penalty, and removes the income cap. And there you go. A lot of stuff in a big recording. Third stimulus, fifth stimulus, fourth stimulus, and debt ceiling limit. Third stimulus, please get that money right away from your rent, utilities, food, internet. Lean on the nonprofits. They're doing God's work. They're doing items that no one would think you can get. I want you to get money as far into the future as you can go. And if you've gotten money before, get more money. Understand that when this cash infusion lands from the federal government for third stimulus, it's going to get used up quickly. So pounce and get it as a Purple Hawk. Fifth stimulus, coming later this year. Debt ceiling limit has nothing to do. Your checks for benefits, for Social Security, for veterans will come on time. They will not be delayed. The only people this really impacts the first week or two are people who are probably not viewers of this channel, who are federal employees that make $60,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year. You may not be called into work after a week or two if this continues for a while, for the first week or two. Then finally, fourth stimulus, world exclusive. It's important to push Omar, Jayalapal, AOC, Pelosi, push. We're near the finish line, but guess what? Until the president signs it, you want to keep on pushing. World exclusive continue throughout the day. I'm back with you next with noontime at 11 a.m. Then 1 o'clock, afternoons LA, and then a brand new afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. A brand new evenings LA at 5 o'clock. And then shows at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30 tonight. I want you part of this incredible family. Thank you for the Purple Patrol. Thank you for your incredible love. Don't forget to sign up for those LA news alerts. They're in the description, totally free. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. I don't want you to miss anything across the board and be part of this loving community that supports each other and gets things together time. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, because the toast was toasting, the butter was buttering, and the coffee is brewing, and I'll see you next back on Noontime LA, which this video will automatically take you to right after this is done.